Hello and welcome back to I'll Read What She's Reading. We're your hosts. I'm Reggie.
Michaela. And I'm Kennedy.
And today is a different TBR episode from what we've done in the past. We're going to be sharing with you guys our underhyped TBR, meaning books that we haven't heard very much about that we are going to make sure we read sometime this year. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know? Pretty soon here. So hopefully these are some books that you also haven't heard about, but you may be excited to add to your TBR that, is probably never ending, just like ours.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited because I have no idea what books you guys are going to be sharing, and maybe I'll have to swap some of my ones on my list with ones that you guys talk about. Before we get into that, though, we're going to give you an update on what we're currently reading. And I'm going to pick Kennedy to start us off.
Wow. Okay. So I have had a decent reading experience the last few weeks. I'll brush really quickly on I'm going to tell you about 4 books, okay? First one, Atmosphere, Taylor Jenkins Reid. So very good. If you want to go look at our TikTok, I posted a reaction video of what I did when I finished it. Very, very good. And then I also read One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I was obsessed.
I knew you would be.
Obsessed. Alice is me. I am Alice. She's got red hair. I'm a fake redhead, but she is me. I loved Charlie. And I've been seeing people on TikTok say they didn't like his personality. I loved it. Worked for me. Perfect summer read. I rated it 5 stars. And that is just further proving my theory that if I would just read romance books instead of listen to them, I would rate them a lot higher. And then I also read Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Technically listened to the graphic audio. My bad. Everybody clap for me. Thank you. I read another Brandon Sanderson book. It was really, really good. Very fun, very whimsical. We're following Tress. She is obsessed with cups. Okay. She falls in love with this person who mysteriously disappears. Bum, bum, bum. And then she sets off on a journey to find him. Hijinks occurs. Think Princess Bride meets Pirates of the Caribbean.
I really do want to read that one, but I just feel like maybe I should read. That should not be my first Brandon Sanderson.
Now, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about the order to read Brandon Sanderson, and everybody was telling me, don't read Trust of the Emerald Sea yet, don't read Trust of the Emerald Sea yet, blah, blah. And I can see why, because I did catch on. There were a few little hints to Mistborn. There's a few little, this is not a spoiler, Mistborn's magic system has to do with metals, and at one point the narrator was saying stuff about different metals, and he dropped this one-liner. He's like, if you care about that sort of thing. So it was kind of like this little ode to Mistborn. It actually talks about a certain Mistborn character, which I was screaming. And I think that's a book that I will go back and read after I've read more of the Cosmere. But I do think it's a great introduction into his writing because it's whimsical, it's fun, it's funny. The characters are really interesting. It's pretty fast-paced, but the magic system's really unique. I kind of wish I wouldn't have started with Mistborn because it is so slow. I don't know if Michaela agrees, but his writing style's just very wordy. But it was fun. It was really good. I rated it 4.5 stars. So
nice.
That's my update.
Wonderful.
Oh, am I going?
Sure. All right, I can go.
I don't care.
Go for it.
Well, flip. Well, I did read One Golden Summer. Also really enjoyed it. My favorite of hers so far. And I also read Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. And I think it was just really unique on the romance because it has to do with a celloist and a violinist in the same orchestra.
Okay.
Okay, cute.
I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know. It was just something different that I haven't seen before. It's not like my favorite romance book, but it was very interesting, and I really want to find out more about orchestra stuff and I don't know. It was just cool. Guys, I'm realizing I've literally only read romance books.
That's great.
It's summer. It's the
Tis
time.
the season.
The Other Side of Now by Paige Harbison.
I think it's Harbison.
Harbison. Very good.
Mhm.
Loved it. First Time Caller by BK Borson. Loved that one. Out of the Woods by
You are on a romantic.
Hannah Bonham Young. It was also good, but I found it at times hard to relate to the characters. So, but all of those were 3-star and up, and 4 of them, or three of them were 4 stars, 4.5. Oh, I guess One Golden Summer I rated 4.5, but rounded up to 5 stars. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Cool.
I'm just I don't know. I just I've been intimidated to start any fantasy books.
I feel that.
So
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I also read The Other Side of Now. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I'd maybe even give it like a 4.25 or even 4.5. I went in with I didn't even know what expectation I went in with, but I loved it because it's it felt like a romance book, but it wasn't a romance book really. It's more just about friendship, grief, finding yourself. I really wish I would have physically read it because I probably would have rated it even higher. But I still love the audiobook. Paige, the author, she narrates it and she did a fantastic job. I was tearing up multiple times during this book. There was a solid few chapters where I was trying to clean my kitchen and I literally just sat there and just stared at my kitchen counter and just cried. Loved it. It was very sweet and it was also really funny. Just really great vibes. There's so much I loved about it. So I highly recommend. We did that as a book club book on our Fable and it's a bonus one. And I just loved it. It was great. I finished Empire of Storms, as you know. Eventually I'll stop talking about my Throne of Glass reread, but I gave it a 4.25 rating. Enjoyed it so much more than I did the first time. Surprise, surprise. And I read the last book of the Bound Worlds, which is The Blighted Stars, and it was so good. It was so good. I want to read the books again already. I really liked how things ended. And I also read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, gave it 5 stars. It was so good. That's me. I'm feeling also intimidated to start any fantasy book because I'm reading Throne of Glass. You know what I mean? It's I'm going from Tower of Dawn to Shield of Sparrows. That's what I need to read next. I'm a little nervous, but looking forward to it at the same time. But yeah, summer, there's just something about summer in the romance books, It's a vibe.
I also think it's hard because most of the fantasy books I want to read are not complete. And I'm really tired of having to wait for other books because I feel in the meantime, not that I forget, but I forget some details and then I have to go back and you know what I mean? So yeah. It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah. Anyways, that's what we've been reading. So
what we've been writing.
Here's some reads that you maybe haven't heard about, and we're gonna dive right in. We'll just go on this. Let's this way
first.
We'll start with Kennedy.
All right.
What you got?
First one is
Oh dear. Is it gonna be about
No, it's not about a cheese moon, okay? It's not about a cheese moon. It's very on brand for me. When I tell you guys the title, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, this makes sense for you. Okay. And I'm a little embarrassed that I'm putting this on here. And 90% of people who are listening to this podcast probably have zero interest in reading it. But me, I do. And I want to be realistic about what I'm actually gonna read. And this, I will eat this up, okay? It is called
I'm on the edge of my seat.
The Winter Soldier Cold Front by Mackenzie Lee.
Yeah.
So, it's literally about the Winter Soldier. So, if you guys don't know who the Winter Soldier is
it Marvel?
Yes, it's literally Marvel. It is Bucky Barnes. So, it's based in 1954. The Winter Soldier is the Soviet Union's greatest weapon. He's assigned, you know the story of Bucky Barnes, freight car, anyway. It's, basically it's a backstory about Bucky, and then it's literally his backstory, essentially.
And it's
And him going on missions.
Okay. So
Okay.
you get like details of like.
and is this
It's
like,
not canon. It's not canon, so
okay? So it's not a fan fiction.
no. It's like a published book.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
I love this for you.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
feel like you will really enjoy that.
He's enlisting in the UK Secret Service.
okay.
So you see a little bit of his time with the Soviet Union, and then we go back to regular old Bucky Barnes. He's in the UK Secret Service, and he's grappling with his identity, you know?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Most of you probably have zero interest in reading that, but Mackenzie Lee also has, for anybody who is a Marvel nerd like me, she also writes other books within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I unfortunately do think that they're all YA. So whether or not I'm gonna like this a lot, I'm not sure, but if it involves the Winter Soldier, sign me up. There's also one about Loki.
Hmm.
So let me just go through Mackenzie Lee's backlog. Loki, Where Mischief Lies.
Mm-hmm.
The Winter Soldier, Cold Front. Gamora and Nebula, Sisters in Arms.
Love.
She also has some other books that are not Marvel related, but I'm here for it.
Okay. I know you are.
So there you have it. The crickets. Don't you guys love that? Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything else to add.
I don't
just
know
think
what to add to
That's
it.
very. I'm excited for you, and I'm
Mhm.
really hoping that you enjoy it.
Yeah. So
It's very Kennedy.
very me.
How did you find that?
I don't honestly know. I'm not sure.
Would you ever just like read the comic books?
Yeah, I would. I would read the comics. We actually have a massive. In my vlog that I did where Kyle picked books, he picked books for himself, and he bought. Oh, I actually don't think I showed this. He bought an encyclopedia, and then we also bought like a huge book of like a whole bunch of the comics.
The comics and
yeah.
stuff like that.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
That is really cool.
Okay, I brought this up on the podcast once before as something I wanted to read, and I never read it. And I'm feeling bad because,
Can I guess what it is?
yeah,
You've been summoned?
no,
Oh.
no, but that is one that I do want to read. This one is by someone I personally know them. And so I feel like I want to read it because I know who she is. It's called The Method to Infinite Things by Madison Boyer. She's like a friend of a family friend. And it's a dystopian adventure. And I think it's a standalone. I think the reason I didn't originally read it is because I was like, there might be another book and I don't know when that would be coming out. And so I was kind of like, anyways. But I want to read it because I know who she is. And so I'm like, why would I not read it? You know what I mean? And it's a dystopian adventure
Fun.
novel. Essentially, it's about a girl who she just wants to be like accepted in society, I think. And she has this like really cool invention that she does at a fair. And some deadly explosion happens and she gets put in the middle of this political conspiracy because something, I don't know if her invention goes wrong, but anyways, she's trying to unveil the dark about this conspiracy of who is behind this sinister agenda, and she's kind of try to save the day. It just sounds interesting to me.
You say dystopian, and I'm sold.
You know, yeah, I feel like there's not enough dystopian books out there. So, it's also a pretty short read. It says it's only 269 pages. So I'm going to purchase it for my Kindle and support Madison because, you know, love her. Want to
Is
support
it
her.
a standalone or is it a series?
I thought it was originally a series, but I am mistaken because it doesn't say that it is.
Okay.
So I will update you guys
Please do.
and report back. It seems like one I could read in a day, you know?
Yeah.
And my cousin, who's friends with her, has read it and she had a lot of good things to say about it. So, yeah, I'll report back. The Method to Infinite Things, I just noticed, is now on Kindle Unlimited.
Woohoo!
So I'm stoked about that.
Fun.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. I'm going to be a little biased and say that this book intrigued me from the cover. and I didn't even know what it was about. But it's called Voice of the Ocean, and it seems kind of like a Little Mermaid scenario, but instead of her being a mermaid, she's a siren.
Ooh.
And then, she's the daughter of the Siren Queen. Classic. And then there's a guy who murders sirens.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay?
so an enemies to lovers situation.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's kind of like a Little Mermaid with a little bit of a twist. I don't know. Seems good. And the cover's just really pretty. I love the color of it.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that looks cool.
I like the cover a lot, and it just kind of seems a little unique.
Did you say the author?
Oh, I didn't. Let me see that. Voice of the Ocean, Kelsey Impici, Impiccieche.
I have no idea how you pronounce that, but I
Yeah.
think that your pronunciation was great.
Impiccieche? I don't know. That is a really cool last name. Very difficult to pronounce, but yeah, I think it looks great from the cover. I was very intrigued. I was judging a book by its cover, and then the book description looked very good as well. So I'm hoping to get to that.
You like sea stories.
I do.
Mermaids and pirates and
I do.
sirens.
I do.
Yeah.
Sounds just right up my alley. So big fan of that.
Cool.
We all will have to report back on all these books, seriously.
Yes.
My next book is also by someone all three of us know. It's called Dear Future Husband by Taryn Christine. So basically, it's a romance book. So this book is about our two main characters, Maybelle and Trey. And Maybelle ends up getting in a terrible accident, and she is in a coma. And when she wakes up, she finds Trey by her bedside, and Trey is Maybelle's brother's best friend. And while Trey is sitting by her in the coma, he finds her journal that she has made that she wants to give to her future husband. And that is the synopsis of the book.
Yeah, we love supporting a friend.
Yeah, Taryn is such a sweet person. We had a book retreat in Utah last November, and she came to it, and she was so much fun to be around. And I know how much she's gone through trying to release this book. If you have seen her TikToks, you know just how passionate she feels about this. And I'm really excited for her to release this book, and for if you guys are interested to read it, because I'm sure every book that someone puts out is a labor of love, but when you know someone and you've kind of followed their journey throughout trying to get published and having an agent and then losing an agent and then having to self-publish, it just is that much sweeter when you get to actually physically read their book. So I think it's going to be great. And I think you guys should read it too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like the cover.
yeah,
It's really cute.
It's a really pretty cover. So
Yeah. I'm so happy.
And I know that part of it is based on her life, and I just think it's going to be a really emotional read. She put on her stories a few days ago some of the trigger warnings, just some of the topics that are covered, and it seems like it's going to be a really emotional story. And I love a good romance with emotional subplot that makes me cry, and I think that will be this book. So
yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, my next one, I saved a TikTok about this book so long ago and was reminded of it when we decided to do this episode because the concept I'm curious what you guys think of this. So your first love calls you before your wedding day and says, don't marry him. And you didn't listen to him. So you marry this other guy and you end up getting divorced. And then your guy that called you before your wedding day saying, don't marry him, passes away.
oh, plot twist.
So this is what the author put as a TikTok that she made. And so then she said, so you wrote a book about it to heal and share your story. So then she ends up writing a book kind of about the same kind of idea.
Oh.
where it's called On His Way Back to Me. So
Are we going to have a You Reached Sam type moment?
I don't know. It's a gorgeously romantic story that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. So basically the synopsis kind of is asking the question of, does true love really ever die? So a lot of the reviews are saying that it's just like a very interesting, like feel good, but like also really heartbreaking romance. So I have no idea what to expect going into this because I'm like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, especially where it's based off of like real life experiences, where I feel like it might be a little gut wrenching, but I'm here for it. So that's On His Way Back to Me by Brittany Basinski, I believe is how you say her name.
Sounds wonderful.
So, yeah.
Sometimes you just need a good cry. It kind of sounds like it's going to take you on the same emotional journey that The Other Side of Now did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe with like an open-ended ending. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one on my list is called Cash by Jessica Peterson. And it's a series in Lucky River Ranch.
Yeehaw.
Okay.
Best you can know where this is going.
It's enemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine, small town cowboy. And I'm pretty sure it's from the perspective of the male.
Interesting.
Because it says, my dad and I have been estranged for years, but as his only living relative, I inherit a massive cattle ranch when he dies.
Ooh.
Huh.
I don't know if it's dual point of view, but I think...
Unless the girl inherits the cattle ranch.
No, it's Cash.
Oh.
It's Cash, the guy.
Okay.
So I think it's from the perspective of the male, which is very interesting. Anyways, I just thought it would be like a fun cowboy romance book.
One
From
that
the
people don't talk
perspective
about.
of the male, I'm pretty sure. But there's obviously a female in it because it talks about a female. A city girl, of course.
Oh, city girl, country boy.
City girl. So, I don't know. The cover just looks fun. And I'm pretty sure one of the people I follow on Goodreads marked it as want to read. And I was like, I've never seen this before. And so I marked it as want to read. So, yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
You can never go wrong with cowboy romance.
Yeah.
Okay, my next book. Honestly, I feel like most of the underhyped books I think that are on my Goodreads TBR are literally sci-fi books. So I tried to find ones that weren't sci-fi. This one is like a techno thriller. So we're kind of going back to the sci-fi roots. Now, if you've heard of this author, please don't come for me. I guess he may or may not be a New York Times bestselling author, but you know what? I've never heard of him and I've never heard of this book. So we're counting it as underhyped. It's called Dissolution by Nicholas Binge. And the plot is following Maggie Webb. And she's lived the last decade caring for her elderly husband who has had memory loss. So think, you're caring for your husband. All of your memories together are gone. He doesn't remember you. He doesn't remember your love story. He doesn't remember anything. Okay. Well, knock, knock, knock at the door. We have a mysterious stranger coming to say that, hey, actually, your husband isn't actually losing his memories. Someone's taking them away from him. So now she goes on this journey with this stranger to find the person who's stealing her husband's memories so that she can get her husband back.
Interesting.
She says the deeper that she dives, she unravels mystery after mystery, spanning continents and centuries, and no one can be trusted.
That sounds
Apparently, her husband did something a lot of years ago, and that's why this person is taking away his memories.
Ooh.
So,
yeah, I feel like that's something you would like.
100%.
Yeah.
Right up my alley. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, Michaela guessed that I would talk about this book in the beginning. Maybe I should have said it then.
Sorry.
But you've been summoned by Lindsay Lamar. I had this on my fall TBR last year and I just wasn't able to get to it. And I still wanted to read it, but I wanted to like save it around fall time because it's like a murder mystery type of vibe. And I just feel like I thrive in the fall reading books like this. I just have a hard time enjoying them when it's not in a cozy setting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I believe it's on Kindle Unlimited. I'll fact check that in a second. So this book, it's not a murder mystery party, I believe, that takes place for reals. It's just like a costume party that turns into this murder mystery for reals. She finds her sister's body at the party, and you as the reader are trying to play detective and figure out what happened. So
it's like a choose your own adventure?
Kind of. It says you're giving clues and like interviews to analyze, and you as the reader must make a case in this whodunit novel turned criminal investigation. So it sounds really cool. So it's like you're reading you're wondering who did it, but you're also have to like, I don't know. I'm curious how it wraps up. Because based off the synopsis, I'm like,
Yeah,
but
I want to know if you like figured it out.
Yeah, I want to know what like the layout of the book is.
One of the reviews says it's definitely an interactive mystery novel.
That sounds so fun.
So it says it's like a murder mystery party for introverted people.
Me.
So yeah,
I'm gonna download a sample right now because I'm curious what it looks like. Hold on, please hold.
Yeah, on the pages.
Yes. So let's see here.
Someone said, I applaud the author for taking the risk on this concept. Totally paid off. So I am excited to see how this book plays out, because ever since I saw, one TikTok about it, I'm like, I am so intrigued by this. So I will be reading that for sure. I promised myself I would, and I'm really looking forward to it. So it just sounds fun.
Yeah, that does sound really fun. I love a good thriller murder mystery.
They're very hit or miss for me. Sometimes they work, and other times I'm like, oh, that's who the murder was?
Yeah.
So I hope this one knocks your socks off.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Love.
Michaela.
Okay.
Michaela.
Okay, so this was a book that was given as an ARC to us a long time ago, like when we very first started this podcast, and I just haven't gotten to it, but I have been very interested in reading it. I just haven't had time to like read because it doesn't have an audiobook, and I tend to listen to books that have audiobooks like faster, and I get those done quicker. But it's called The Lost Kingdom by Laurel Black, and it's, I feel like it's like your classic fantasy book. The kingdom is at a disarray and there's only one person who can save it.
The Lost Princess.
The Lost Princess. Anyways, there is pretty much the first line, which is, I find very intriguing, is trusting him is the only way to save the kingdom. Oh, this is very interesting. So like they have to form an alliance to like save the kingdom or whatever. But if he doesn't return at a certain day, his betrothed will be executed. So he's betrothed to someone else.
Ooh.
Okay.
And so
love triangle, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting stakes.
Yeah. So, I feel like it'll probably be a pretty classic romantasy book, but I feel like I gotta give it a chance because the map looks really cool. The book itself looks really cool. So we'll see how I like it. And it doesn't have a ton of reviews or ratings, but everyone who has read it has liked it. So why not? Give it a little whirl.
Yeah, why not? Okay, my last book is something I would consider underhyped. I've never heard anybody talk about it. It only has 4,500 reviews on Goodreads, but I guess some people could say maybe it's overhyped because it does have a blurb from Lee Bardugo. I don't know. I just consider it underhyped, okay? So I saw this book in Barnes & Noble around the time it was released. So almost a year ago, August 27th of 2024. And I wanted to buy it so bad. It sounded so interesting. But then I realized, well, I thought it was a standalone. It's not a standalone. It's in a series. And there was no release date for the second book. So I put it back. I said, I have already too many fantasy series on my shelf that are not complete. I'm not adding another one. But the second book releases in February of next year. So I feel confident in saying that I can read this now. The book is Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brennan. And the synopsis is about our female main character, Ray. She's dying, but she gets a second chance by going to live in her favorite fantasy book.
Oh, heck yeah.
She's transported into her favorite fantasy book, but plot twist, she's actually the villain.
Oh.
So the book is about her banding together with all the other villains in the book to defeat the Emperor.
Ooh.
That
Yes.
sounds really interesting.
I want that.
Yeah.
I want that on my TBR.
So it says that she bands together with a rogue of villains, including an axe-wielding maid, a shining knight with moods, a homicidal bodyguard, a playboy spy master with a filthy reputation. So it sounded so good at Barnes & Noble. You know, when you go on bookstore trips and you just kind of meander. There might have been a Barnes & Noble employee that put a blurb. I'm not sure. Picked it up. Wanted to buy it. It was not the time, but now it is the time.
All right.
So, Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brennan.
That
All right,
sounds very
cool.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That does sound very interesting. I like that concept a lot. Okay, so for my last one, so I'm gonna say the Book of Doors. Kennedy says she's seen this a lot on her TikTok.
But it might not be anybody else's For You page, okay?
But I have heard nothing about it until one of my friends, she Marco pulled me. She's like, Reggie, you will love this book. You have to read this book. I need to talk to somebody about it. And when she was telling me about it, I was like, yeah, I would love this book. So it's interesting that you've seen so much about it because I hadn't heard anything until she called me up and told me to read it. But this girl that works in a bookshop, and one day one of her customers just dies right in front of her, and she's super devastated because she just loves this customer so much. And the only thing that she can remember her customer by is the last book that he was reading, and it wasn't just this ordinary book. She opens it, and there's all these drawings, and any door is every door. I don't really understand what that means, but you just have to figure out how to open them. So basically she's traveling through all of these doors. Okay, so she's being hunted by these people who know about this book. So now that she has it, it's from what I'm understanding, some people are trying to come after her because she has this book now.
Okay.
And so she's has to use these magic things in this book to go through all these different doors. So the way my friend described it to me, she's like, the reason you're really going to love it is because I love to travel and I love to read. And so she's like, it's just putting those two things together. You're using these different books to travel to all these different places. And so it's got that fantasy element to it. It's got a travel element to it. She's like, I absolutely loved it. And I think that you would too. So if you guys have been seeing a lot about it on TikTok, let me know if you think that I would like it. I haven't seen anything about it. So
Kristen and Maddie both gave it 5 stars.
all right.
See, I have a ton of people that I follow that have read it.
That's so funny because on my Goodreads, it just shows that my one friend has read it. And I have 2 friends that have marked it as maybe as a want to read. So it just kind of goes to show that not everyone's For You pages are the same.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is once again, I feel like you have to have a caveat of the underhyped because it might be underhyped for you, but it could be hyped for other people.
Okay.
I remember the first time we ever did an underhyped episode, I talked about Dark Matter, and someone came for us in the comments and was like, Dark Matter and Blake Crouch are a very well-known author, but for me, I'd never heard anybody talk about it. So for you, nobody's talked about it.
Yeah.
It's underhyped to you. That's all that matters. And chances are, most people listening probably haven't heard about it either.
So the Book
I'm
of Doors.
chronically online.
The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown.
Book of Doors. Sounds very interesting. Okay. I chose this book because I'm going to the place where it takes place. And so I thought it would be fun to read a book. It's While We're Young by K.L. Walther. And it's the Summer of Broken Rules author. Maybe she is hyped. I feel like that's her most popular book, but this one just came out not that long ago and it doesn't have very many ratings or reviews on it. So I was like, I should read it. It's like a Feeler's what is it called? Sorry, I gotta go to my Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but set in Philadelphia. Have you ever seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I just think it would be a fun thing to kind of read about Philadelphia, and it's about a group of friends that are doing like a senior skip day in Philadelphia. So
okay, fun.
Yeah, I just thought it would be like a fun little read.
So is it fiction or is it romance?
It says romance.
It says romance.
Yeah. A I give up on speaking. A whirlwind romance inspired by Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, cool.
Cute. So I think that one would be cute. And
well, if I could get my husband to read romance, maybe he would like it because his favorite movie is Ferris Bueller's Day Off and he loves Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He'd never read it, but that sounds fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, you've never been to Philly before, have you?
No.
It's fun.
Yeah. We're going in September.
It's a fun vibe.
Maybe they'll have some like blurbs about certain places that maybe I need to go.
Well, I know
visit.
the cover does of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it will be a fun read and I hopefully can get to it before we go in September. So
yay.
I think that's it.
Cool. Well, we're really curious to know if there's any of these books that we talked about that you guys have read, what you thought of them. So please let us know. And hopefully you have some books to add to your TBR. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you. Love you lots. And we will see you next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.